Hello, beautiful people. So happy Saturday. And today we are experiencing the new moon solar eclipse in Libra. This will be the first one in the Libra sign, but we already had the first eclipse in this axis, which was the solar eclipse in Aries that took place in April this year, early on this year. And these are the axes of Libra and Aries, where we're going to be experiencing eclipses for another year and a half. So today is the first one in Libra. I already spoke about this a lot in my own video, in my two collaborations with my friends. So if you are interested to hear more about it, you can find this video on my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about this practical application of astrology and my personal experience. If this is not what you are interested in hearing, then stay tuned. I will be releasing my astrological forecast for next week, either on Sunday or on Monday. I haven't decided yet, but it's coming by Monday, so stay tuned for that one. So with regards to this eclipse, it of course will be taking place depending where you are in the world. For some of you it will be around the lunchtime if you are in the US. For me here in the Europe it will be early evening. For you guys over there in Australia it's gonna be early hours of Sunday morning. Either way, this eclipse is very intense based on everything else that's going on in the sky, which I'm sure most people are aware. It's reflected quite intensely on the collective level, and I'm pretty sure that this has been also felt on the individual level. Myself personally, I've been feeling these eclipse energies for over a week now. Just over a week ago I've been experiencing nightmares, which is not a common thing for me. I usually don't even remember my dreams, and also I've been feeling very on the edge. And so when things been happening in the world now, I understand when I was feeling that way, because it's not something that is like particularly happening in my life, like not to the extreme how I was feeling, how I was responding to energies. And as we know, Mars had a conjunction with the South Node on October 4th. I already spoke about this, which started a brand new cycle between South Node and Mars. And South Node is the resolution node to Pluto squaring the nodes. And actually, Pluto is squaring this eclipse. Mars just had a square to Pluto last Sunday night. And this is still in the effect, even though Mars is now in the sign of its rulership in a Scorpio. So it's an out of sign square, but it's still within the orb. And this is marking a closing of the cycle between Mars and Pluto that started on March 3rd of 2022 and will be ending on Valentine's Day in 2024. So this is why we feel all this intensity. There are all these squares. Mars, of course, now is in a Scorpio, which is very intense. And there is a lot happening. And I can imagine that this is being felt in many people's life. Once again, I'm not saying that this is everybody's experience, because you are the creator of your reality. You choose the timeline which you are experiencing. So for some of us, we are less or more affected. It depends. But for me here in the UK, I am actually coming to the end of my stay here. I've been here over 2 weeks now, which is hard to believe because they've gone so fast, and I only have few more days left. I'll be flying back to Slovakia on Wednesday morning, and then I am intending to stay there for another 2 weeks before I fly back to Mexico, if all goes obviously well, because it's kind of redundant to try to plan anything in this time and age of this accelerated evolution and continuous change, and with everything else that's going on that is kind of outside of our control. But as my good friend is always saying, that man's rejection is God's protection. So if something doesn't happen for you, then you know that there is a reason for it, and there is usually something better around the corner, or something that you need more. So let's just see how that's gonna all play out, obviously for all of us. But as I've been talking about in my past videos, especially since I left Bulgaria, where I could just do what I want, what I wanted, when I wanted, and all that. And then I had the 1 month during the Virgo season, cohabiting with my parents, with my family, where a lot of things were brought to the surface, a lot of things were re-triggered, and there was a lot of learning and adjusting and all that. And then obviously, since I've been in the UK, I've been staying with my friend and her family, and again, more readjusting, more learning, observing, and having this opportunity through walking down this memory line, as I've been talking about in past few weeks, having this opportunity to observe the situations and the versions of myself I used to be, which are still present and part of me, and having the opportunity to respond in a different way, because we are continuously changing and evolving and learning new things, and we have the opportunity to then put them into practice, because universe always gives us a test. There is always an opportunity to make a new choice under the same old circumstances, especially if the circumstances that are coming around are not what you want to be experiencing anymore. They might be unpleasant or uncomfortable, or it could be just like the same old, and why is this still happening to me? And we can even see this in a collective happenings, what's going on in the world right now, because there really is nothing new under the sun. I already spoke about this. There is nothing new under the sun. All these energies, they are just coming around. They already happened before, and now things are just becoming more and more intense, and that's because of this Mars square to Pluto, Pluto square to the nodes, resolution south node in Libra, Venus now being in Virgo. Virgo is all about learning, adjusting, healing, as we know. Mars already gone through Virgo, Sun already went through Virgo, Mercury already went through Virgo, Mercury even had a retrograde in Virgo. So now Venus, as the ruler of the north node, south node, is going through Virgo, and is this Venus is actually the ruler of both this solar eclipse that's happening today, and also the last eclipse, which will be taking place in 2 weeks' time, which will be the last one in Taurus, which will close the cycle of the eclipses that were taking place between Taurus and Scorpio. So there are all these things happening simultaneously: the past, the present, and co-creation of the next experience, the future, even though future is kind of like illusion, because there is always just the now. There is always just whatever you are experiencing at any moment, there is always just now, because you are experiencing it right now, right? So anyway, so saying all of that, all these circumstances are coming around to help us to make a different choice. I know I've been talking about this, I keep repeating this, but now we really can see it on the collective, literally world level, how this is really happening. This is really happening. There are all these situations, these old circumstances, these old traumas being manifested and coming around for us as a human collective, having the opportunity to respond in a different way and make a different choice under the same old circumstances. So the outcome can be different, and therefore down the line we don't have to experience the same experience again. There will be a different experience, a different opportunity for learning and healing and integrating and all that. But now things are becoming so accelerated and so intense. So pretty much, especially with this new moon solar eclipse in Libra, which will be taking place later on today, we don't really have a choice. We don't have choice anymore, because Pluto is square in this eclipse. And as I've been saying, Pluto being involved with the nodes and being the skip step, being the square to the nodes, there is no hiding away. There is no escaping anymore. And also, as I also been mentioning, there is that in conjunction between Uranus and South Node and Neptune and South Node. And Uranus is the evolution, it's where we're going. Neptune is the dissolving of that which lost meaning. And Saturn, as the ruler of Pluto, is in Pisces, and it will remain there until 2026, when the nodes will actually move into Aquarius and Leo. Obviously, in between this Aries and Libra, they will move into Pisces and Virgo. So there are all these things happening, and I feel that, I mean, I cannot again talk about my experience. It is really hard for the human body and the human brain to actually catch up with all of this, because everything is happening so quickly and suddenly, and it is really hard for us to just keep up on the top of everything, because life doesn't stop for us to just sit with it and integrate. Even though, saying that, Mars is now in the Scorpio, and we will be heading, well, we are heading into Scorpio season, and we will be experiencing the next eclipse in the Scorpio season, and there will be all this feminine energy again. Scorpio season, and the full moon lunar eclipse will be in Taurus, which is again water and earth, feminine energy. So right now what's going on around us, it's like this external stimuli. All these things are affecting us from the external environment, like we are being affected by what's happening externally. So we are again accumulating information. Mercury still is in the sign of Libra, but Mercury is also going to move into the sign of Scorpio. around, actually I think it's one day before Sun moves there. Literally it's at the same time, Sun and Mercury, because next week they will be like playing catch up. All these aspects that Mars already made, as we know, Sun and Mercury will be making them one after another, and they're going to have a conjunction. But obviously I'll be talking about all of this in my astrological forecast for next week. But next week is crazy. It's all this Mercury energy, right? But like as I started saying, Mercury also will be moving into the sign of Scorpio before the next eclipse. So this will be all the opportunity for integration again, to take it within and process it. And Scorpio, it's very deep sign. It's a very, very investigative, very intense. And again, it's this past traumas of the abandonment, loss, betrayal. It's like it's very dark. It can get very dark. I mean, like Pluto is the Hades, right? It's the like the god of the underworld and all that. So I mean, it really takes us deep into our psyche, and everything that's going on the collective level right now is literally steering exactly that. It's steering the shadow of our human collective, and it's bringing up something from inside of us that is unhealed, something that is hiding there, that is like dark, and it needs to be bathed in a light, but in a way where it needs to be purged. So literally, and I know that I already mentioned this as well, but like literally this is a collective purge of all this stuff that has been accumulating over the past 2000 years, if not longer, but especially this Pisces age, which we just exited because the next sign the North Node is going to be entering in January 2025 will be Pisces, and the South Node will be in a sign of Virgo. So it's like healing in a different way, because by that point, of course, we'll have Pluto in Aquarius, which is all about individuation and self-empowerment. And with Saturn now being in a sign of Pisces, we can no longer externalize our authority and trust that there is that someone out there, government or whatever, that's gonna take care of you, because they don't care about your needs. And this is why it's so imperative, so important for people to really take care of themselves, like take care of their needs, of their emotion, like really like do this inner work, because we really cannot affect someone, like we cannot change anyone else, right? We cannot go and change someone else. I know a lot of people feel, because of the way we were being conditioned, that we if we do put ourselves first, we are not a good person, we are like selfish and it's narcissistic and stuff, and we need to put other people's first, and we always have to try to help and save everyone. And I know a lot of people struggle with that they really feel that they want to help other people, and that's all great. That's all fantastic, because we are here to be of a service to one another and help one another, but we have to make sure we're doing it from the full cup and with the right integrity. Like, why are we doing that? Is it because we want validation, or because we feel unworthy otherwise, or what is it? What is it? But this is like, this is so deep and so complex, and this video is not supposed to be like, going into all these rabbit holes, but literally what's being presented to us externally, I'm sure that other people are experiencing that in their own personal lives. And I know I've been sharing what I've been experiencing, like maybe not the details of it fully, because of course it involves other people and I have to protect other people's privacy. But like, I don't know whether people remember. Obviously, I know I talk a lot and it's impossible to remember everything that comes out of my mouth. But I've been saying that all these readjustments that's been going on, taking place in the past few weeks, I'm pretty sure that I shared this thought that I had. And I know that I was sharing that also with my friend, and I was saying that, well, perhaps we are getting so unrooted and like thrown from place to place with regards to our habits and these things that we like to do, and suddenly there are all these shifts and changes. And once again, I can only talk for myself, like what's been showing up in my reality, in my experience, that all these things that I was being used to, being in Bulgaria and having my routine and doing all these things, and then suddenly when I was in Slovakia, I had to adjust to other people, and I had to adjust how I spend my time, how much time I, for example, spend online, or how do I work, when do I record things, and I had to do a lot of pre-recording and all that kind of things. So my thought was that, well, that might be because perhaps the way we had been living until this point, well, maybe it is not possible to be there forever, right? Like maybe like it's good to get kind of a little bit more flexible and little bit like when we get unbalanced, to be able to get neutral and balanced again, like faster. Obviously, the more we experience in these things, when it's I don't even know how to describe it like analogically, but when universe throw, like, when you are being thrown at something all the time, you start like ditch, like you start getting out of the way, you start like responding, you start like you become more flexible and more adapt to the situation, where the body starts reacting and stuff like that. So I feel that's literally what's happening with the universe. It's starting to throw things at us, and then it's like, okay, which way do I move, like, what's coming next and stuff. So it's like it kind of keeps us on our toes, with all these like Virgo season, all these things that were changing kids to school and all these things that were happening, and now obviously with this Libra season and all these things that involved other people and cultures and countries, and all these masses of other people that are having an impact on our equilibrium. And again, how this is show, like how I'm feeling into this situation, is that it's so important to learn to find, like, as fast as possible, obviously, to find this sense of peace and center and neutrality in any situation. Because these situations that are happening worldwide, and they are happening, and of course we be paying attention, like we are not going hiding under the tree and saying la, 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 doesn't involve me, yeah, like, but there has to be a balance. Like, yes, you are informed, but to which extent do you allow this to control your life? And again, this is like, I can say in my experience, because like, I'm not living under the rock. I don't watch news, but still I hear things, I know roughly, like, oh, okay, there is a situation going on and it's pretty intense, it's pretty severe, it's pretty serious, right? But to which extent do I allow this situation to unbalance me? Like, it's enough that I'm tapping into this energy. I can feel it. I can feel these energies, right? But to which extent I allow these energies to take me under? Because then if I allow for that to happen, I'm not good to anyone. I can't help my clients. I can't be there for my friends. I can't be there for, well, first and foremost, I can't be there for myself. Yeah. So I feel that with everything that's going on, again, universe is just pointing us back to you. It's pointing you back to yourself, because again, we cannot really change anyone else. We cannot change the world the way people think they can change it. The only way we can change the world is to start from each and every single one of us individually. If you take care of yourself, you can take care of the next person, and they will take care of the next person. And this is how it goes. This is the chain reaction, that the more we heal ourselves and observe ourselves and try to catch ourselves when we are automatically, by the ego and pattern and all that, we are automatically wanting to respond in the same way, just as the world is responding right now, is responding in the same way. And that's going to create the same outcome, right? Because you never win war with a war. That never happened, right? And we have to remember that there are no winners. There are no winners, because they're like, and that's what I mean. That's what I've been talking about with all these Libra new solar eclipse, new moon solar eclipse, that this relationship paradigm is changing. Because whether this is your individual life, my individual life, where we are trying to find a way of relating where you can have you and have the other person too, where it's a win-win situation, where you don't have to sacrifice or compromise yourself, or like be someone different, right? So this is also happening on a collective level. Like, how can we create a new way of relating on a larger scale, where nobody has to lose, right? And I mean, yeah, that might sound completely idiotical what I just said, because like people might say, well, how is this even possible? Like, how can that even be possible? But I mean, and I'm pretty sure that people would say like, well, there always been wars, there always been conflict, but is it really true? I mean, I'm sure that I lived in some of these incarnations, right? Because this is like, for most of us, not the first time in a rodeo, not the second time. And I don't have, obviously, the recollection of like, oh yeah, I lived in the world where there was no conflict or anything, but I'm sure there was such a thing at some point. And that thing will come around again, of course, but we just need to learn to get there. So again, if I take it back to microcosm, how I had this opportunity of the past 2 months, well, month and a half, since I left Bulgaria, this is exactly what's been going on in my life. I had the opportunity to look at all these old situations with all these people that play quite pivotal roles in my life over the past, whether it's a few years or 19 years or my whole life. In the case of my parents, obviously they've been around since I incarnated into this physical form right here, right now. And to be able to observe and identify the situation in a different way, like with this Mercury, right? There is always multiple options. There are always multiple ways of looking at the situation and making these different choices under the same circumstances, which then create a different response and different chain reaction that eventually leads to something completely different. But as it stands right now with the world, it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying this is the truth, that we are responding in the same way. We are responding in the same way. So it is not like there is always two teams. People are always being divided. I'm pro this against this. I'm pro this against this. And yes, of course, like we are in this, in this world of polarity. So there is always this good and bad and right and wrong and all this. And I am not saying this is right, this is wrong, this is the, whatever. Like I am not picking any sides, but there has to be a different way. There has to be a different way of relating because this is never going to resolve anything. All this this way of relationally being in the world is not going to, because even if you like, and this is again, like, I don't even know if I should approach this subject, but even people who cause these really atrocious, awful crimes against humanity, and I mean, this is especially for me paramount because I had been, like obviously when I was with my family, my nephew is 1, and my friend's baby is 3.5 months old, so it's literally a very small baby, right? And for me to imagine that this little baby like would just want somebody dead or would be full of hate, which is like, I mean, not this baby for sure, this particular one, like it's just so full of love and joy and wonder and stuff. So this really, like, having literally this human baby in front of me and having the opportunity to observe and interact with this being, it really makes me question and like observe and question a lot of things. Because, and I'm not saying, again, I know that there are people who chose to play the shadow roles in this world to help us learn something, right? To help us awaken to some understanding of something and to be able to change the pattern again. It's all about learning. This is a school of life, obviously, but that baby, I have a and again, I could be completely wrong, but I have a problem trying to believe that there was a baby that was born and it was evil from the day one. And I'm sure it's possible. I'm not saying it's maybe that, like, very likely there were babies that were like, like I know they said the evil incarnated and all that. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go in that direction. Like, this is not the energy I want to be playing with right now. This is just pure curiosity and observation and, my Mercury kicking in, saying that how is that possible with this baby being born, that this baby might want someone who is a different color of skin, different religion, different whatever. This baby might just decide that, oh, I don't like that person, we should just kill that person, right? Which means that obviously there is that environment, that there is something being passed on. Of course, a lot of it is passed on genetically, which is, again, there are these studies, right? Like, is it the nature or the nurture that creates the man? Like, what is it? And again, I don't have the answer. I'm not like the most educated person walking on the planet. Absolutely not. All I'm doing is now trying to question things and question the narratives, because to me, again, observing a little baby, I have a difficulty believing that this baby naturally would be inclined to hate, right? Which means that obviously there is something, whether it's like, the nurture, the conditioning, or whatever it is, that eventually creates the man. And again, yes, there is definitely genetics and all that in play. And this is literally just me thinking out loud right now. I don't even know whether I should be recording this. So what I'm trying to say, that obviously if there is something being said to that baby enough time, the baby will adopt it as a truth. right? Because we all have done that. We all like spend half of our life being conditioned and programmed with certain belief system, and then trying to uncondition, deprogram, and heal from it, and find out who we really are and what is that thing, right? So if all these things has been passed on from generation to generation by by the cultural, societal, religious conditioning and all that, then that creates the same outcome, right? It creates the same person responding in the same way until somebody will say, I'm not doing that, I'm changing that. And again, taking it back to my microcosm, as I said, is like walking down the memory lane, is triggering the aspects of myself of who I used to be, because I'm still that person. It's still inside of me. It's still part of who I am now. But do I want this aspect of me to be behind the driving seat? Because, like we all can wear multiple hats of how you want to represent yourself in this, in this reality, because you are the director, the producer, the main star, the everything of your movie, of your life, right? So you decide. So that's why I've been going through so much so much self-study, let's just say, and exploring how I am responding to situation and what aspect of me is being triggered and coming to the surface. And now, do I want to still respond in the same way that then might create the same outcome, and then am I happy with that outcome? Yeah. So this is like my experience, right? Like I've been now having this experience, like whatever it is, for 2 weeks, and then I had to make changes, boundaries, whatever, and then the response was different, because if you change, if I change, if each and every single one of us change, then by the ripple effect, by the law of attraction, the things, the people around you have to change. It's impossible if a person changes, it's impossible for nothing around them to change. It's impossible, because it's an action and reaction, right? So the only way we're going to keep attracting the same outcome is that if nothing changes, if we don't change who we are, if we don't change how we respond to situation and stuff like that. So again, like we have this opportunity to practice this in our little ecosystem, whether this is with your family, this is with your friends, this is with your husband or partner or whatever, your kids, your colleagues, whatever it is. And again, as I mentioned in my previous videos, if I have a issue with my own family or with my friends, or these people who know me and care about me and, want the best for me, whatever that best means for them, right? It doesn't have to be what I think is the best for me, but still, they mean well. If I don't get on with these people, or if there is a conflict or whatever, and now I'm not saying that we should all get on all the time, 100% of time, and never any argument, of course not, because that I don't know how possible that is being a human, because there is a whole spectrum of emotion and experiences that we are having right here, right now. However, if I don't make an effort to make these relationship work, then and then of course all comes from me, because like these people are just playing their role, the one that I assigned them in my movie of my life. And these people are just playing their role perfectly to help me to learn something, to understand something, and to change some pattern that is no longer working for my soul on its spiritual journey, evolutionary journey, saying like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Like we need to change the pattern. So I'm going to get triggered to hell. And then I need to investigate and find out why am I getting triggered, and this is where it started, and now change the pattern, right? Respond in a different way. So if we don't do any of that, and we don't get on with these people that are close to us, and again, I'm not saying everybody needs to get on with everyone, because I know that there are obviously exceptions and certain things are not acceptable. Like you are not a punching bag, like you are, if obviously there has to be boundaries, and that's why everybody's life is unique. And that's why, I would not ever go and like even try to give people advice or whatever. And anyway, I don't give people advice. I don't I don't tell them what to do with their life, with their readings. But if people just give me, like, throw at me some placements in their chart and want me to give them interpretation, is impossible. From the evolutionary astrology standpoint, is not really correct, because there are all these different things that have to be taken into consideration. But again, that's going into different direction again, going back to what I was saying, is that if we don't, first it starts with me, So if I don't change nothing within me, then these people will just keep mirroring back to me, and it will keep creating conflict. Again, not everything is acceptable, and that's up to you to decide what is and what isn't acceptable, and where do you have to put boundaries. And your body always guides you, like how you feel, like all these kind of things. But if I don't get on with people around me that are close to me and, like me and I like them, then how am I going to get on with people that are not playing this role, right? And yes, sometimes we get on better with strangers because they don't know us and all these kind of things. But on a grander scale, on a collective level scale, when it comes to different cultures and all these kind of things, different countries, different side of the world and stuff like that, if I don't try to understand myself and meet myself at what I need when I need it and all that, and then I'm projecting my needs externally, and then I get triggered and stuff like that. So if these big scale groups of people are not meeting my needs and I'm getting triggered and all that, then then that's creating conflict on a big scale, right? And then again, it's just a mirror to something within you, something within me, something within each and every single one of us. It's just, if it gets unresolved from that one individual, and then it escalates to all these external relationships that eventually become a whole world thing, right? But it can only be resolved on a individual level, and that's why it feels so overwhelming for many people when they say, well, I cannot save the world, right? But you can start from yourself. And we all can start from ourselves. And if that each and every single one would start from ourselves, and we wouldn't be so busy trying to fix the world, which is impossible by doing it externally, then things would change, yeah? Things would change. Things would just maybe create some different response. So again, I feel like I'm just not explaining things properly, and probably even going on a rabbit hole where I shouldn't be even going, and dancing on a thin ice here. But being in Slovakia now, being in England for 2 weeks, which, as I mentioned, is now coming to its end, because I'm soon going to be returning back to Slovakia for some extra exams over there. It's been very educational. And like I said, my initial reaction based on my ego and copy-paste of my past behavior, just pack and go. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this situation. I don't like these people. I don't like this and that. Let's just pack and go again. But then based on circumstances that universe arranged, no, you're not going anywhere. You have a work to do here, right? Yeah, I had the opportunity to actually learn something and to observe something, and certain things clicked for me, and perhaps have a deeper understanding for that other person's point of view by trying to listen, not just talk, and observe and try to understand where they coming from and all these kind of things. But I couldn't have done that if I wouldn't also take care of what I need and and establish the boundaries that are healthy for me, because otherwise I would continuously want to, lash out or be triggered or whatever, because my boundaries are not being respected. So I feel that when people really get to know themselves on the individual level, and they know where are their boundaries, and now doesn't mean that, of course, that things are not being flexible and now we're being rigid behind something. Like, things are continuously in a state of flow and change, but it's again about this continuous learning and adjusting and knowing yourself, because it's all these earth archetypes, these Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. They are earth, they are grounding. So it's like this continuous opportunity to bring that knowledge or that wisdom or that whatever it is that we are getting, all this guidance, and then translate it back into the practical application and put it back, bring it down to earth. And then go out for more, right? That's why all the signs in astrology, they are like masculine, feminine, they always change, like the masculine, the air and the fire, they change for the water and the earth, right? Like, there is always this shift, because we always go outwards, gather information, bring it inwards, process it, then outwards again, inwards, and that's how it goes. So right now we are getting information from the external. So, for me, I'm here with a lot of people around me, and all this interaction and socializing and being busy and all that. And then I'm sure when Scorpio season comes, and actually, yeah, all going well, I'll be going to Mexico, and then I'll be away from everyone, away from all my friends, away from all my family. Like, yes, I'll still be cohabiting with some other people I don't know, but not so many. And there will be still people external of me, people that speak different language. And all these kind of things, but in essence I'll have the opportunity to go within and process all of this, and that will be Scorpio season, right? And then the whole process will start again. Sagittarius season, we go outwards. Capricorn season, we go inwards, and this is how it goes. So anyway, to wrap this up, because it's half an hour and I don't want to make this too long, because these energies are really heavy, and I don't want to keep poking into it. But the whole point of why these things are happening is because there are all these squares, and because the eclipse is being squared by Pluto, and it's happening on a south node in a closing phase conjunction, because the exact conjunction between Sun and south node and Mercury in south node will be taking place next week after this eclipse. So there is a closing phase. Things are ending, cycles are ending, and in order for the new cycle to begin, we better have the totality of understanding of what this cycle represented, this past cycle that is ending. And that's why we can see all these things are being purged, all these things are becoming conscious to us. There is all this like disclosure, like all this like information is coming out. It's coming out, and it's again, there is nothing new under the sun. There is, even in your personal life, there is nothing new under the sun. I'm sure that a lot of people are having the same experiences, re-experiencing the same relational patterns and all that. And yes, if you are not, then you've learned the lesson, then you're moving on, you're experiencing something different, which is great, you know. And this is what we want to achieve on a collective level. We want to be experiencing something different, not always the same old story with, you know, the same old outcome. It's just more intense, and then there is more sophisticated you know, tools being involved and all that kind of things. But this is why it's happening on the individual and collective level, and it's becoming more intense because things are in Pisces, because things are in balsamic places. Literally, universe is saying this has to end. These cycles are having to have to end, because there are new cycles just about to begin, and you have the opportunity to make a different choice. And we'll have to make a different choice because Pluto is going into Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about changing the pattern. It's ruled by Uranus, and if it doesn't come from the way of I want to upgrade, I want to change, I respond to the change positively, that it's going to happen with the Tower moment, because it's the same archetype, and these are not personal planets. So that's why I always say to my friends or my clients, like, how bad does it have to get for us to understand that if we keep responding the same way, we're going to keep getting the same result. It's just going to get more and more intense, because if this outcome of the situation, it's actually harmful and creates suffering and more division, then there are no winners, right? There are no winners. There are no winners in these games. So yeah, and we can see this on our personal level as well, in our personal lives. Like, there are no winners if I don't get on with the people I care about, or if we have conflict or anything. Like, yes, everything is open for discussion, and like I said, not everything is acceptable, and we need to establish boundaries. But I don't know how many people can really feel good about themselves if somebody they care about is suffering or struggling. And the only way why we think we don't care about what's going on somewhere else in the other part of the world is because we feel separate. But the more and more we are actually awakening, the more and more we tapping into collective consciousness and the source and everything, the more we actually cannot separate ourselves, because we feel what's going on. Like, I can definitely feel it, even though it's not happening in my reality right here, right now, but I can feel it. I can feel what's happening, and I need to be able to also distance myself and protect myself, so I don't allow this energy to take me under and to take over my life. And now that's it, right? But yeah, it's just too much. It's just too much, and it's too heavy, and I really don't want to talk about this anymore. It's very heavy energy, and I don't even know how many people are watching to this point, because people it's a lot, and people have their own things going on in their life. But I'm just trying to help us all, including myself, to understand that if nothing changes, nothing will change. And there is nothing new under the sun, which I've been talking about a lot. But it's true. There is nothing new under the sun. I mean, it's my true. Obviously, it's my perception of reality. And that's why all these things are coming around, because they want to be resolved and healed and integrated, but they are just reflection of something that is unhealed, unresolved, and unintegrated in each and every single one of us, because this is how things work. They are just a mirror. All these other people, all these situations, they are just a mirror. And even if it's not you personally, but it's an aspect of us as a collective, and that's why these things are happening. And that's why this new moon in Libra is seeding up this new energy, but the change, it's not going to happen easily, and there is no short-term resolution that's going to sort out this, or like a short-term perfect resolution that's just going to make this go away. Like, no, this is not going to work anymore. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, bring it to the end. So like I said, this is my last personal share from the UK. I'm going to make the astrological video for next week, and yeah, and then the next one will be from Slovakia. So let's see what this week in between in between eclipses will have in store, and also being in 2 different countries in 1 week, what that will have in store. And yeah, the time definitely is accelerating and approaching for another change, another shift, well, for me at least, and I'm sure for other people too. And at the same time, there will be the last eclipse in Taurus, the last one of the past 18 months or even longer. So yeah, because these things are like, it could be even past 19 years as it is for me. So it's incredible that once you know, you cannot unknown. And once you start paying attention to these patterns, you cannot not see. You just see, and you starting to understand, you starting to put 2 and 2 together. And once we step into that role of authority and take the responsibility for our creation and decide, I don't want to experience this anymore, I want to experience something different, and I'm going to take what I'm going to do whatever I need to do to change it. So I'm going to respond in a different way and see what happens. And that's pretty much the opportunity that we are having right now. It's a new moon, even though some astrologers say, oh yeah, don't see the intentions on a new moon, like, but it's still a new moon. So I mean, I don't know, obviously with traditional astrology, like, that's why I'm not practicing it, because it's very polarizing. So I don't know what are the rules. But from the evolutionary level, even though this is a very challenging, on a human level, very challenging time, but it is for our highest good, because the way things are and have been, it's not working. It's toxic, it's dysfunctional, it's not sustainable, it's just not working. And I don't have personally the solution to this, but things have to change, and it has to start from each and every single one of us, and then collectively we create a wave that will create a change. But it will not happen overnight, and it will not happen by us trying to want to change someone else. So this is where I'm at, just observing, just trying to ground and transmute these energies, and just staying in my power, staying hopeful, and understanding that there is a meaning and purpose behind everything, and everyone is experiencing whatever the soul needs to be experiencing on a soul level, even though in a human level it makes no sense. Yeah, it's just too deep, it's just too complex. And like I said, I don't really want to dig myself in any deeper grave that I already have done. So I hope that this solar eclipse will be gentle on you, and I wish you a nice rest of the weekend. And I will record the astrological forecast and publish it either on Sunday or on Monday. Stay tuned, and I will speak to you guys soon. So I'm sending everybody much love and peace and balance, and Remember, you are the creator of your reality, so focus on the timeline you want to experience and how that would feel to have that experience, because this is how we create what we want to create, by putting emotions into it. So focus the emotions into what you want, not what you don't want. So I'll leave it at that. Much love to all, and I speak to you soon. Bye for now.